So, what is this that I'm hearing? That Xbox fans are mad about some comments praising Astrobot? That's very interesting. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I saw a post by Jess Corden, and I'm also seeing replies and responses that seem to be championing what he's saying. He says that Xbox fans getting mad at people for the mere suggestion that Astrobot looks like a pretty good video game is peak chronic online derangement syndrome. Interesting. Now, everybody knows on this channel, more than a lot of the other games journalists, I'll listen to what Jess Corden says. Not saying he has a perfect record. In fact, I think he gets things wrong, but I've seen him basically come back and talk about a few things that he's found mistaken in some of his reporting. I also remember that, people were pressing him in this comment section when I was looking through it, just replying. And, he said he's got some people that basically have added him and made these same comments. I want to go ahead and say, from actually looking at the responses to the game on the Video Game Fight School channel, I have not seen that sentiment. And, sure, the channel is small. We're still, basically growing. We're talking about these issues. But there are a lot of issues that we talk about, and you guys know I try my best to go ahead and read almost every single comment, and I have not seen one single comment getting upset about Astrobot. If anything, I've seen some tongue-in-cheek saying, come on now, I can't believe everyone is basically fawning over this game when both the PlayStation side and the Xbox side are on those platforms, because most of the time they're not really, focusing on games that are of that nature, if you get what I mean. Like, if you pose a game like this in front of, like, say, any fandom, whether the PlayStation or the Xbox side, they'll be like, it's still one of these games that really does, lean towards the Nintendo side. So I haven't seen that at all. If anything, I've seen PlayStation fans actually come after me for pointing out that, with Astrobot, it now makes PlayStation a legitimate, competitor. They've always been a competitor, but, it kind of puts them in, better sight as competitors of, Nintendo. So what could be going on here, and what would probably be the thing that most Xbox fans are upset about? Well, instead of Astrobot, believe you me, Xbox fans are not upset about that game. What most of them, I've noticed, are not necessarily happy with is the fact that Indiana Jones is going to PlayStation. That's the one thing I've seen Xbox fans not too, thrilled with. Now, I've basically made videos. I've talked about why it makes sense. As a PC player, to me, I don't have anything to basically sit here and worry about, the two boxes. I've told you guys before, if they both evaporated, including Nintendo too, if their boxes all evaporated, that'll be fine with me. I'm a chronic PC player. I've always been one for all my life. And so, again, it's just, for me, I like the freedom. I like the fact that I'm not beholden to any box or any, publisher or manufacturer of some kind. I could just basically source my parts and just go from there. And so, thinking about it from a strategic perspective, it makes sense that Xbox actually takes that game to PlayStation. We already know the cost, issues in regard to all of that. In fact, what's even better is we now have the metrics, and that's something that we didn't necessarily have before. Back in the day, whenever these kinds of things were going on, a lot of the numbers were hidden from us. We didn't necessarily know why these companies were making the moves that they made. However, now that we've actually seen exactly what it cost to make a game like Marvel Spider-Man, and now we know basically what the cost parameters are to be able to actually fund a game like that, both before production, during production, and after production, when you're paying licensing fees, man, that makes a whole lot of sense. So I made this video just to talk about a lot of the different challenges that some hardcore Xbox fans are actually facing, and honestly, Astrobot does not come close to any of that. If anything, it's other issues that they're actually dealing with. Another thing that maybe some, Xbox fans would probably, reel over is that, Tango Gameworks is closed, and, the Hi-Fi Rush, franchise has been sold to another company, but not Astrobot, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is probably maybe some people probably flattering the situation more than it necessarily has to be. If anything, what I've seen, and I made note of this in my last video, is some folks from the Nintendo side actually pointing out the PlayStation fans and calling them hypocrites over, something I know not, but it is definitely not what I'm seeing from the Xbox side on my channel anyways. And, there are fanboys from both sides that come here and they talk about things, and, their attention is on certain issues that really do plague, these two companies. But at the end of the day, I think it's very interesting that, a game like that is actually, in a sense, fostering conversation. But by and large, it's not a unique title by any measure. I think what's happened is, for the most part, and this is just the reality, a lot of the PlayStation community have not necessarily seen much in terms of action from, PlayStation themselves. And so in that regard, a game like Astro Bot, I can see how it can cause, a huge, feeling of excitement at the end of the day. It is what it is. But when Indiana Jones comes around, that's what everyone's going to be focusing on. I mean, this whole Astro Bot thing is basically wanting to be overblown for the most part. That's not what I think is on the radar of a lot of people. And I think December is really going to show that. Once that game, comes out and everybody gets to weigh it, and then some PlayStation players will probably say, maybe I want to play it, maybe I don't want to play it. Oh yeah, that's already like predictable drama that's about to happen. So anybody that's out there talking about Astro Bot is just wasting time, or they're probably looking for clickbait. If they're making no, we're mad at Astro Bot, then anybody will say it's a good game. Nah, it's all rage bait. They're not really serious about what they're talking about. But anyways, these are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.